The space gym on Unity Station was always full of noise. Fighters trained every day. Aliens and humans punched, kicked, jumped, and shouted. Bright lights hung from the roof, and the floor shook from every strong move. This was the place where strength was shown and respect was earned. Racco stood in the center ring that day. He was tall, red-skinned, and proud. He wore his black belt proudly across his chest. Racco was known across the station as the best fighter in gyro combat, an alien martial art full of fast moves and high kicks. He loved to show off. He loved to be watched. And he loved to laugh at others who were weaker. Come on. He shouted, spinning quickly and landing with a loud thud. Is there no one left to challenge me? People clapped. Some cheered. But most had already fought Racco before and lost. Then someone laughed from the corner of the gym. It was not loud. Just a soft, polite laugh. Racco turned his head. Near the edge of the gym, a woman was cleaning the floor with a simple mop. She wore plain gray clothes and soft shoes. Her hair was tied back. Her face was calm. Her name tag said, Mina, Maintenance Crew. Racco smiled wide. You, cleaner, he called, pointing at her. Want to try your luck? People laughed. Some thought he was joking. Others watched silently. Mina looked up from her mop. She tilted her head slightly. Me? Yes, you, Racco said, grinning. Let's give the crowd a show. A few people began to whisper, he's just teasing her. She should say no. It's not fair. Mina placed her mop in the bucket and walked slowly toward the ring. I accept, she said. The room became quiet. Racco raised an eyebrow. You do? I do, she answered calmly. The gym buzzed with shock. Some smiled, thinking this would be funny. Others looked worried, but Mina didn't seem nervous at all. She stepped into the ring with quiet steps and looked at Racco with calm eyes. Racco bowed quickly, not taking her seriously. Don't worry, I'll go easy on you. Mina nodded once. She did not bow. She just stood still. Her arms hung gently by her side. She looked peaceful, almost like she was standing in a garden, not a fighting ring. Begin. Someone shouted. Racco stepped forward quickly, his foot landing hard. He moved his arm fast, throwing a light punch, not to hurt, just to scare. But Mina didn't flinch. She moved slightly to the side, just enough to avoid it. Racco smiled wider. All right then. He moved again, this time with more speed. He tried to grab her arm, but she stepped back lightly. Her movement was so smooth, like flowing water. His hand missed. Now Racco frowned. He tried a quick low kick. Again, Mina moved. Only a little, and he missed again. Gasps came from the crowd. No one expected this. Racco now tried a full attack fist, kick, spin, fast and sharp. But it was like Mina could see everything before it happened. She didn't block, she didn't punch, she just moved in the right place. At the right time. And then, gently, she tapped his chest with her hand, just once. A soft touch, but Racco lost balance and fell to one knee. The gym went silent. Racco stood up quickly. Again. He shouted, a bit red in the face. He was no longer smiling, but Mina didn't move. She just looked at him, calm and still. Racco charged again. A strong side kick, but again, no hit. Mina stepped, turned, and guided his arm with her hand. His own movement pulled him forward, and he almost tripped. She didn't hurt him. She didn't even fight. She just moved like wind around stone. Tobu, the gym's head trainer, stood watching from the side. He had trained hundreds of fighters from many planets. But what he was seeing now was different. This is not gyro. This is not earth boxing. This is something else, he whispered to himself. Finally, Racco stopped. He stood, breathing heavily. Mina looked the same as before, calm, silent, almost peaceful. Racco stepped back, then bowed. This time, it was slow and respectful. I yield, he said. Everyone in the gym stared. No one laughed, no one spoke. They had never seen Rocco bow to anyone, especially not to a cleaner. Mina bowed her head slightly. Then, without saying anything, she walked out of the ring, picked up her mop, and went back to cleaning the floor. Jim stayed silent for a few moments longer. Then whispers began. Who is she? How did she move like that? She didn't even fight. She made Rocco look slow. That evening, a small video from the gym security camera began to spread across Unity Station. People watched it again and again. The woman's movements, her stillness, the soft tap that brought down the station's best fighter, it became the talk of the station. But Mina didn't seem to notice. The next day, she was back to her usual work, sweeping, wiping, mopping, humming quietly to herself. And yet, the fighters who passed her in the halls now looked at her with new eyes. Some smiled politely, some bowed slightly. Even Rocco gave her a quiet nod as he walked by. Something had changed in the gym. And it all started with a joke that wasn't funny after all. Mina, the simple cleaner, had left everyone silent with only a touch and a quiet smile. The next day, Unity Station's gym was full of whispers. Fighters, trainers, and even visitors were all talking about one person, Mina, the cleaner who had surprised everyone with her quiet power. Videos of her match with Rocco were being shared across the station. Some said she used old Earth tricks. Some believed she was a secret agent. Others thought it was just luck. But one thing was sure, no one could forget what they saw. Rocco had not spoken much since the match. He trained alone that morning, his movements more focused than usual. He wasn't angry, just thoughtful. Something in Mina's way of moving had shaken him deeply. In the gym's lounge, a group of alien fighters watched the video again on a small screen. One of them, Jarn, who had 4 arms and green skin, said, "She didn't even punch. That was not a fight. That was ... sing." Another fighter, a young human named Tommy, added, "But Reiko still couldn't touch her. That's not luck. That's skill." At that moment, Tobu, the head trainer, entered the lounge. His face was calm but serious. "Stop guessing," Tobu said. "Let's find out." He turned and walked out. The others followed him, curious. Mina was in the hallway outside the gym, filling a cleaning bucket with water. Her mop stood nearby. Her face, as always, was calm. She worked like nothing had happened. Tobu approached her. "Miss Mina," he said politely, "may I speak with you for a moment?" She looked up, gave a small smile, and nodded. They stepped into the empty side room of the gym. It had padded floors and quiet lighting, perfect for conversation or practice. Tobu stood a few steps away from her. "I've trained warriors from many planets," he said, "but I've never seen someone move like you did yesterday. May I ask where you learned that?" Mina thought for a moment. "Nowhere special," she said. Tobu raised an eyebrow. "It looked special to me. Would you mind showing me again?" She looked at him. "You want to fight me too?" He smiled. "Not fight, just ... move." Mina nodded once. The two stood in the center of the room. Tobu bowed. Mina gave her quiet head nod again. Then they began. Tobu took a step forward, slowly, carefully. He didn't want to surprise her. He had seen what happened to Rocco. He extended his arm for a light grab. Mina didn't step back. She didn't push. Instead, she turned her body just enough, and Tobu's hand slid past her shoulder. Before he could try again, she lightly placed her hand on his elbow. Not hard, not to hurt, but his feet moved. His balance shifted, and he had to take 2 steps back to stay upright. Tobu blinked. He tried again, this time with a simple push. Again, she guided the energy, not stopping it, just redirecting it. It felt like he was trying to hold water in his hands, and the water kept slipping away. Fascinating, he whispered. They moved for several minutes like this. No strikes, no loud steps. Just motion, gentle, flowing, almost like a quiet conversation between bodies. Finally, Tobu stepped back and bowed deeply. "You are beyond us," he said softly. Mina said nothing. She simply walked over to pick up her mop and bucket. By the next afternoon, the gym was more crowded than ever. People wanted to see Mina again. Some hoped for a second match. Others just wanted to look at her. The cleaner who became a mystery. Mina was in her usual place, cleaning near the sparring area. Her gray clothes looked a bit cleaner today, but still simple. She wore no badge of rank, no belt, no title. Just soft shoes and quiet eyes. Tobu gathered a group of students. "Today," he said, "we will study balance. And we will observe someone who understands it better than anyone." He looked toward Mina. She didn't respond, but she kept mopping. Tobu didn't force her. If she teaches, you learn. If she does not, you still learn. Rako was there too. He stood at the back of the group, watching in silence. His arms were crossed, but not in anger. He was thinking. Later that evening, something strange happened. A group of young alien students approached Mina while she cleaned near the back halls of the station. One of them, a short blue-skinned girl with 3 fingers, spoke up. "Mina, can you teach us how you moved yesterday?" Mina looked at them. She placed her mop to the side and said, "Are you ready to listen?" They nodded quickly. "Then watch," she said simply. She moved slowly, one foot, then the other. She breathed in, then out. Her arms followed her breath. Wide, calm, steady. It looked like a slow dance. But the students watched closely. Her balance was perfect. Every movement flowed into the next. One student tried to copy her. He stumbled. Mina smiled. "Don't try to copy. Try to feel." And that was the only lesson she gave. At the same time, far away in the station's upper offices, a man named Kennel watched the footage again on a screen. Kennel was human, but not a fighter. He worked in history and culture. He had studied many things from Earth's old days, things lost or hidden. He watched Mina's movements again. He slowed the video. His eyes widened. "This isn't just balance," he whispered. "This is memory, old Earth styles. Flow-based movement, internal control. Art forms once practiced in silence, now almost forgotten." He leaned forward. "Curious, who are you, Mina?" Back in the gym, no one laughed at her anymore. People didn't cheer. They didn't clap. They just watched, silent, thoughtful, and a little amazed. And Mina, the quiet cleaner, just kept moving. Soft steps, gentle breath, calm heart. And with every move, she said something, not with words, but with motion. A lesson not of power, but of peace. The space gym on Unity Station had changed. Before, it was filled with loud training, sharp commands, and strong punches. But now the atmosphere was different, softer, quieter, not because people stopped fighting, but because everyone was thinking. They were thinking about Mina. She was still just the cleaner. She still pushed her mop from one hallway to another. She still filled her water bucket, swept the locker rooms, and wiped the training mats. But no one saw her the same way anymore. Whispers followed her everywhere. She must be from a secret human academy. Maybe she's a spy. No, she's too kind for that. I think she knows something we don't. Even the trainers had no answers. Mina never spoke much. When asked about her fighting skills, she always gave short replies. "I just learned to move. Balance is simple if you listen. Force is not always strength." These words were soft, but they made people think. Even experienced fighters began practicing more slowly, watching their steps, breathing deeper. In the quiet office behind the gym, Kanul, the human culture officer, was busy with old records. He had become interested in Mina after seeing her video. Something in the way she moved looked familiar, but very old. He searched through ancient Earth files. Martial arts, breathing techniques, forgotten schools, lost temples. Then he found it. A blurry black and white video from centuries ago. An old man stood in a garden, moving slowly, just like Mina. His arms flowed like water. His steps were soft and precise. The video title said, Tai Chi Master minus 2031. Earth China. Kennel sat back in his chair. She's using this, he whispered. But how? Back in the gym, Tobu, the head trainer, was also curious. He watched Mina from a distance every day. She never trained, never stretched, never punched anything. But her body moved with perfect control, no stiffness, no fear. She was calm at all times. Tobu called over Rako, the black belt fighter who had once challenged her. You fought the best, Tobu said, but she made you lose with a tap. Rako nodded slowly. It was not about strength, he said. She didn't fight me. She led me, Tobu asked. What did you feel? Rako paused. Then he said, it felt like ... She already knew my moves before I made them. Tobu looked down. That is not a normal skill, that is mastery. Later that day, a group of young trainees gathered near the cleaning closet. Mina was filling her bucket when one of them, a quiet boy named Lem, stepped forward. Mina, he said, can you please teach us again? She looked at him gently. I am not a teacher. But we want to learn, Lem said. We saw what you did. We want to move like that. Mina thought for a moment. Then she pointed to a quiet corner of the gym where the floor was empty. Stand there, she said. The students followed her. She placed her mop aside and took a breath. Close your eyes, she said. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your breath. Don't rush. The students did as she said. Then she began to move slow steps, soft arms, steady breath. The students copied her. Some stumbled, some smiled nervously. But they tried. Mina gave small tips. Don't push, don't fight. Just follow the air. No strong kicks, no shouting. Just stillness and gentle motion. More students came to watch. Even a few alien fighters joined. No one laughed. Far above the gym, in the control tower of Unity Station, Canole prepared a report. He called it, The Forgotten Art, Earth's Lost Movement Traditions. In it, he wrote, humans were once known for many things, machines, ships, trade. But we forgot one of our greatest gifts, our inner balance. Mina has brought back something old, something peaceful, and maybe ... something powerful. He saved the file and sat back in his chair. He had also learned something from Mina, even without moving. That evening in the empty gym, Tobu approached Mina again. Why do you move like that? He asked. She didn't stop mopping. It's how I was taught, she replied. Where? He asked. Mina looked up. A small place on Earth, far from cities, no machines. Just mountains, air, and silence. Why did you come here? Tobu asked. Mina smiled a little. To see if the galaxy is ready for stillness. In the next few days, the gym became a quiet center of learning. Some fighters still trained in normal ways, punches, kicks, and heavy practice. But others started moving slowly. They copied Mina's soft steps, her turning arms, her careful breath. It was not just about fighting anymore. It was about balance, and somehow people felt better. Fewer injuries, less anger, more control. Even Rako, the proud fighter, started helping Mina carry her bucket in the mornings. He didn't talk much, but he bowed every time he saw her. Mina never asked for attention. She never wanted a crowd. But her way of moving, her gentle presence, had changed something. Not through force, but through example. Who was Mina? To most, she was still a mystery, but those who saw her move, those who tried her steps, those who felt the calm she carried, they knew one thing for sure. She was no ordinary cleaner. She was a reminder that sometimes true power is quiet. The gym on Unity Station had become a strange mix of strength and stillness. Some fighters still followed the old ways, fast punches, loud shouts, and sharp kicks. But a new group, small at first, now practiced quietly in the corners. They moved slowly, breathed deeply, and followed the calm path shown by Mina, the cleaner who had once left a black belt on his knee with only a soft touch. She never opened a class. She never called herself a teacher. But people came anyway. Kenel, the human culture officer, watched all this from a distance. He sat high in his office, sipping warm tea as he reviewed the gym footage again and again. Each day, more people joined Mina's quiet followers. Some were human, some were alien, some were soldiers. Others were engineers or nurses. No one came for belts. No one came to win. They came because something about Mina's movements felt right. Kenel began collecting short clips of her sessions. He gave the folder a name, The Soft Path, Observations, but he still didn't understand how she had learned it. Or why. One morning, Kenel went down to the gym himself. He stood at the edge of the training mat, where Mina was gently leading a small group through slow movements. A young alien boy was trying to copy her hand motion, but kept losing his balance. Mina bent down, adjusted his foot, and smiled. "Stand like a tree, not a rock." The boy grinned and tried again. This time, he stood straighter. Kenel waited until the lesson ended. As the group left, he stepped forward. "Mina," he said softly, "may I ask you something?" She looked at him with calm eyes. "Of course. I've studied many parts of old Earth. I've seen records of Tai Chi, Aikido, even some desert movements lost in sandstorms. But you move like something even older." Mina gave a small smile. "My teachers did not use names." "Then what did they use?" Kenel asked. She paused, then answered, "Breath and silence." That evening, Kenel wrote in his journal, "She's not just showing forgotten skills. She's showing forgotten wisdom. She teaches without talking, leads without commanding, and fights without hurting. I wonder if this is what Earth was meant to be before we filled it with noise." Meanwhile, back in the gym, a small challenge was building. A new fighter had arrived on Unity Station. His name was Varu, and he came from the mountain clans of the planet Torin. Varu was known for his size and discipline. He wore no bright colors, no medals, just a brown uniform and a long staff on his back. He heard the whispers, "There's a human woman here who doesn't fight, but makes fighters fall." Varu said nothing, but his eyes narrowed with interest. The next day, he entered the gym. Everyone noticed him. His presence was strong but quiet. He did not shout or boast. He simply walked to the center of the floor and placed his staff down. "I have heard of a cleaner who does not fight but wins," Varu said in a clear voice. "I wish to meet her." Mina was in the back wiping a bench. She turned slowly. The room grew quiet. She walked forward with her usual steady steps. She stopped a few feet away from him. "I am Mina," she said. Varu looked at her. "Will you move with me?" Mina nodded. "As long as we do not fight." Varu bowed slightly. "Agreed." The two stepped onto the mat. No one made a sound. Even the machines in the gym seemed quieter than usual. Varu took a solid stance. His feet were strong, his arms ready. Mina simply stood with her hands by her sides, breathing calmly. He moved first. A slow step forward. Mina mirrored it. He raised his arm in a testing sweep. Mina turned gently, her arms circling like water. He tried again, this time with a bit more pressure. Mina moved like wind through trees, never pushing, never stopping, but always present. Then, at the exact right moment, she placed 2 fingers on his shoulder. Varu's foot shifted. His balance tilted. He didn't fall, but he had to step back. He blinked, then smiled. "Again?" he asked. Mina nodded. They moved for several minutes. It was not a fight. It was a dance. Each step, each turn, each breath shared like quiet music between them. Finally, Varu stepped back, placed both hands together, and bowed deeply. "You carry something ancient," he said. Mina bowed in return. "And you respect it." After that, even more people came to watch, not because they wanted to see someone fall, but because they wanted to feel something new. They wanted to understand this thing called stillness. Tobu stood by the window one night, looking out into space. Rako stood beside him, quiet as always now. "She didn't defeat me," Rako said at last. Tobu nodded. "I know. She just showed me I was already off balance." They both stood silently for a while. Then Tobu said, "She is not here to fight. She is here to remind us." "Remind us of what?" Rako asked. "That even in a place built for strength, peace can still be stronger." And so the curious observers kept coming. Some watched, some learned, some changed, but Mina stayed the same, cleaning the floors, moving with calm, speaking only when needed, smiling when someone found. Balanced. She had no title, no rank, no prize, but in every quiet step she took, the whole galaxy was beginning to listen. Unity Station's gym had become more than just a training ground. It had become a place of questions. Old fighters asked themselves if they truly understood balance. New trainees wondered if strength alone was enough. And in the center of it all was Mina, the quiet cleaner who moved like flowing air and left even the strongest fighters speechless. She never asked for attention. She never claimed to be special. But every day, more and more people followed her steps, watched her movements, and tried to understand the secret behind her calm power. One morning, Tobu, the head trainer, made an announcement. He stood at the edge of the gym floor, his voice clear and steady. "We will hold a peaceful demonstration today," he said. "No winners, no losers, just learning. And we ask one person to lead it." All eyes turned to Mina, who was mopping near the far wall. She looked up slowly. Tobu continued, "Mina, will you share your way of movement with all of us?" The gym went quiet. No one dared speak. Even the machine seemed to pause. Mina placed the mop into her bucket, then nodded. "Yes, but only if no one tries to test me." Tobu smiled. "This is not for fighting. This is for understanding." The gym was rearranged. Mats were cleaned. A small circle was formed in the center, with space for others to sit around it. Fighters from all parts of Unity Station came: humans, aliens, men, women, young trainees, and old masters. Even Kennel, the cultural officer, came down with his datapad to record the moment. Mina stepped into the circle alone. She wore the same simple gray clothes. No shoes, no belt, no armor. Just silence. Then, without music, without command, she began to move. Her steps were slow. Her arms moved in wide, graceful arcs. Each motion was connected to the next. It was like watching a wave rise and fall, or wind passing through tall grass. No part of her body was stiff. Her hands seemed to float. Her eyes stayed calm. Every breath was part of the dance. No one spoke. No one even coughed. Time seemed to stretch. The gym, usually full of noise, became like a quiet temple. Even those who had come just to see something strange now sat up straight, eyes wide. They didn't just see her move. They felt something. After several minutes, she stopped. She stood still. Her chest rose and fell gently. Then she bowed. The crowd didn't clap. Not because they weren't impressed, but because clapping felt too loud, too out of place. Instead, they nodded. Some bowed their heads. A few closed their eyes, thinking. Tobu stepped forward. "Thank you, Mina." Mina said nothing. She simply stepped out of the circle and returned to her mop and bucket. But the demonstration had done something more than just impress people. It had opened a door. A young alien girl named Rima was the first to ask for a lesson. She had trouble with normal training. Her arms were too thin for heavy weapons. Her balance was poor. She often cried after failing her drills, but when she watched Mina move, something in her heart whispered, "I can do that." Rima went to Mina the next day. "Please," she said, "can you show me how to move like that?" Mina looked at her kindly. Only if you promise to go slow. I promise, Rima said. And so they began. Not in the center of the gym, but in a quiet corner. One step. One breath. One motion at a time. Soon, other students joined. No yelling. No sweat. Just presence. Kennel added new pages to his journal. The demonstration was more than a show. It was an invitation. Mina is not teaching a new technique. She is teaching a new way to live, one that starts with the body, but reaches the heart. Even Racco, the once proud black belt, sat at the edge of the mat now. He watched, learning with quiet eyes. He no longer tried to prove anything. He just wanted to understand. One evening, he walked up to Mina and asked, "Why do you never strike?" Mina replied, "Because I don't need to." Racco nodded. "But what if someone strikes you?" She looked at him calmly. "Then I help them lose balance, not their body, but their anger." Racco stood still for a moment, then bowed. Tobu, the master trainer, soon added a new part to the daily routine at the gym, the still hour, for 1 hour each day. No fighting was allowed. No noise, no tests. Only slow movement and quiet breath. At first, many fighters found it strange. But slowly, they came to enjoy it. Injuries lessened. Tempers cooled. Some even said they slept better at night. Tobu made a note on the wall. The body is strong when it is calm. The heart is stronger when it listens. No one disagreed. Outside the gym, other stations began to hear the stories of a woman who moved without force, of fighters who fell without pain, of a quiet art that healed more than it hurt. Visitors arrived. Some wanted to learn. Others simply came to watch, but all left with something in their minds. There is more to humans than we thought. Mina remained the same. She cleaned the mats. She mopped the floors. She taught without speaking much. And when people thanked her, she simply smiled and said, "Just breathe." The demonstration had ended. But the lesson had only begun. A lesson not written in books, not shouted in drills, but shown in silence, breath, and motion. The lesson of a woman who never asked to be noticed, but taught the whole station to see. The gym at Unity Station had changed completely. Once it was a place full of noise, sweat, and competition. Now each day began with silence. The air was calm. People moved slowly, breathed deeply, and respected each other's space. All of this had started with Mina, the quiet cleaner. She had not given speeches. She had not won medals. She had simply moved in a way that made everyone stop and think. Her soft steps and gentle hands had reminded people of something they had forgotten. In his office, Camille sat quietly, watching an old video from Earth. The screen showed a woman standing on a mountain. She moved just like Mina, slowly, softly. Her arms waved like water. Her feet touched the ground with care. Behind her, tall green trees swayed in the wind. Kennel's eyes filled with wonder. "She's not using strength," he whispered. "She's using memory." He wasn't talking about memory in the mind. He meant something deeper, a memory in the body, passed down over time. Movements that came from generations long ago. Movements that taught peace, balance, and understanding. Later that day, Kennel met Mina in the hallway near the gym. She was cleaning the glass wall with a soft cloth. He waited for her to finish, then asked, "May I speak with you?" She nodded. Kennel held up his tablet. "I've studied Earth's history for years. I've watched ancient martial arts die. Chi, Aikido, soft flow movement. They all disappeared slowly, piece by piece, as machines replaced teachers and noise replaced silence." Mina looked at the tablet. "Some pieces were never lost," she said quietly, "just hidden." "Where did you learn it?" Kennel asked. "Did someone teach you?" Mina nodded. "Yes, in a place not found on any map." She paused for a moment, as if remembering. "I grew up far from cities," she said. "In the hills. My people lived quietly. They did not use loud machines. They didn't chase power. They believed the world spoke in soft voices. Kanul listened carefully. We were taught how to move with the earth, Mina continued. Not against it. We practiced each morning. Not to fight others, but to learn ourselves. Why did you come here? Kanul asked gently. Mina looked out the window, toward the stars. To see if the galaxy had space for stillness, she said, and maybe to remind it. That evening, Kanul wrote a special report and sent it to Earth's Historical Council. He titled it, The Silent Revival, Human Memory in Motion. In it, he wrote, the cleaner known as Mina has shown something we forgot. Not just a way to move, but a way to live. Her art is more than a fighting style. It is a human treasure, hidden for centuries. She carries a memory of peace in every step she takes. He closed the report with one line. She does not belong to one nation or one planet. She belongs to all who still listen. In the gym, things continued to change. Even during regular training, people moved differently. Fighters checked their breathing. Trainers reminded students to stay soft, not stiff. Arguments became rare. Injuries became fewer. Even alien techniques began to change. Some alien instructors added slow movement to their warm-ups. They said it helped their students think with their feet. Mina still didn't call herself a teacher, but her presence was now like sunlight, quiet but warm, simple but powerful. One night, Tabu, the head trainer, visited Mina in the gym after hours. She was cleaning alone. The lights were dim. The space was silent. I was once proud of this gym, Tabu said, proud of its strong fighters. But now, I see I was only building the outside. Mina looked at him. You have helped build the inside, he said. The heart. I did not come to change anything, Mina replied. I just walked my path. And we followed, Tabu said. The next morning, a small group of visitors arrived from another space station. They had heard stories of a woman who moved like wind, of a gym where people trained without shouting, of humans who carried ancient wisdom in their bodies. They watched quietly as Mina led a group through the morning flow. One of them, an old alien teacher, said softly, she is like a tree, rooted deep but always moving. Another said, she does not resist, she accepts. Afterward, one of the visitors asked Mina, can we learn this too? Mina answered, if you can listen without your ears and walk without pushing, yes. That night, Rocco stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Mina joined him. They stood quietly. Rocco finally said, I used to think power came from beating others. And now? Mina asked. I think power is not needing to beat anyone, he said. She gave a small smile. They stood in silence, watching the galaxy glow. Mina never told the full story of her past. She never gave long speeches or shared secret techniques. But through her presence, through every calm breath and silent step, she shared something more important. A memory hidden in motion. A lesson older than machines, stronger than muscle, and deeper than any battle. And on Unity Station, that memory lived again. Not in books, not in files, but in the way people moved. Morning light touched the gym floor at Unity Station. The glass walls reflected golden rays from the nearby sun, making the room feel warm and alive. Mina stood at the center, as always. Her hands moved in slow circles, her feet lightly touching the ground. Around her, people moved with her quietly, respectfully. They were humans, aliens, beginners, and masters, all learning from silence. Even those who could not understand her language could understand her movement. They had learned something important. Peace could be practiced. Far away, on Earth, an announcement was made. The Human Culture Preservation Council had officially recognized Mina's art as a living human heritage. She had no official style name, no scrolls, no certificates, but she had something greater, living proof that gentleness still existed in the galaxy. That strength did not always roar, it could whisper too. A new section was created in the council's archive, titled The Way of Quiet Balance, and Mina's name was listed not as a master, but simply as the one who reminded us. Back at Unity Station, Cano received a message. The message said, "We invite Mina to Earth, to share what cannot be written, to show what cannot be taught by data. We want her to lead the first interstellar peace form in motion." Kennel showed it to Mina in the garden outside the gym. She looked at the stars above and said softly, "The stars are wide, but people's hearts must be wider. Will you go?" Kennel asked. Mina nodded slowly. "If I can help them see, not me, but themselves, then yes." Before leaving, Mina visited the gym one last time. It was early. Only one person was there, Reiko. He was practicing the flow movements. His eyes were closed. His breathing was calm. He looked like someone who had trained for years. When he finished, Mina clapped her hands gently. "You have grown," she said. Reiko smiled. "I stopped fighting everything, even myself." Mina nodded. "That is the first lesson, and the last. Will you come back?" he asked. Mina looked around the gym, the place where it all began. The space once filled with noise, now filled with grace. "I was never here to stay," she said, "but my steps are still here." Reiko bowed deeply. "Thank you for changing me." Mina replied, "I did not change you. You remembered who you were." The next day, Mina prepared to leave Unity Station. The staff, students, and even guests gathered in the central hall. It was quiet, not sad, just calm. Tabu, the head trainer, stood with a group of elders and handed Mina a small cloth bag. Inside, it was a smooth stone, taken from the very first floor of the gym. Before the rebuild, "This gym started with strength," Tabu said. "But you gave it soul." Mina bowed gently. "Thank you for giving me space to walk my way." Her ship left with quiet engines, disappearing into the deep sky. And though Mina was gone, her way had already spread. Across other stations, small groups started moving slowly in silence. A new kind of training began, not with shouting, but with breathing. Even young children began to learn soft motion as part of their school routine. Teachers called it body peace. Old fighters, once proud of speed and strength, now spoke of patience and control. And everywhere, people said the same thing. "I saw someone move like water, and I wanted to learn to feel like that." Months later, the Interstellar Peace Forum began on Earth. Thousands of people and beings from many worlds gathered in a large open hall under the sky. There was no stage, no speeches. Mina stepped forward quietly and stood in the center of the crowd. She closed her eyes and began to move. She did not explain. She did not instruct. She simply moved. Her arms flowed like wind. Her feet glided like leaves. Her breath was calm like morning air. One by one, people stood and joined her. In minutes, the wide field was filled with bodies moving in harmony, people of all shapes, all worlds, all histories. And in that silence, something powerful happened. For the first time in many years, there was no debate, no anger, no noise, just motion, just balance, just peace. Later that day, someone asked Mina, "How did you learn to move like this?" She smiled. "By watching trees, by listening to rivers, and by not forgetting." Not forgetting what? That being gentle is still human. Back at Unity Station, life went on. The gym had new students. Children who once ran wild now moved. With care, teachers showed them how to balance, how to listen, how to respect their own body and others. Kennel placed a photo on the wall. Mina standing quietly, with a soft smile, hands open, not in victory, but in welcome. Below the photo, a short message was written. She didn't teach us how to fight. She reminded us how to live. And so, a black belt's joke asking a quiet woman to fight had become something no one expected. It became a story of stillness, of soft power, of remembering. And though Mina had left, her way had not. It now moved in every breath, in every calm footstep, and in every person who chose peace over pride.